We don't need more self-improvement, we need systemic change. Hello, my name is Tammy Thomas. I am a coach, a speaker, soon to be published author of this book, Women Who Work Too Much, Break Free from Toxic Productivity and Find Your Joy. And I had another video planned for today, but I've just got off a call talking to somebody about a possible speaking opportunity. And I thought I would create a video about that. I don't know how long it's going to be. I'm hoping that it will be short. So I was just speaking to somebody about a possible speaking opportunity for an event that is geared towards people who already work in or would like to work in a public facing industry. So they might want to be a speaker, a podcaster, a coach, or they're already doing these things and they want to take up more space. And one of the things we were talking about is doing work to help people feel more confident in doing things like showing up online, being authentic, speaking truth to power, not watering down what they share. Or maybe they're brand new to what they're doing and they're nervous about sharing their first post on LinkedIn or a reel, or they're very concerned about how they'll be perceived, or about whether or not they'll get the engagement they want on social media. And we were talking about that, and some of the words used were talking about limiting beliefs and self-sabotage. And in my book, Women Who Work Too Much, I talk a lot about our nervous system, and in particular, the autonomic nervous system, because a lot of the things we consider to be a self-limiting belief or self-sabotage is not actually, and we talk about them being mindset issues. Whilst mindset is a contributory factor, mindset is like one of the last pieces of the puzzle, or it's a piece of the puzzle. So our mindset rests on our beliefs. Our beliefs are permeated by our conditioning and our experience. And those things inform our nervous system. So the mindset, the limiting beliefs, etc., if we think about it in the context of the nervous system, it's not actually a limiting belief, a poor mindset, or self-sabotage. It's your biology doing what it's designed to do when it experiences a threat. So let's look at you being somebody who perhaps has a corporate role and you are wanting to evolve into becoming a coach and a speaker, which means you're going to need to put yourself out there, share your views. You're going to need to sell and engage with people. We live in a very digital world, so you're going to be doing that online, which means you're exposed to way more people. Because of that exposure and the disconnect of being online, you may be faced with people who troll, make rude comments, or are critical, as well as the people who love you and support you and champion you. To our nervous system, those things are not normal. So we haven't evolved much since we were hunter-gatherers and wholly dependent on our community for our survival. Our community, the people around us, were essential for us to survive. We are the most pro-social creatures on this planet. Connection and belonging is described as the genius of our species. We need people. And our need for people, and the part of our brain that gets very active when we're putting ourselves out there and we are exposed, we are vulnerable to the perception of other people, is still the same as the part of us that was worried about being ostracized from our tribe and being left alone to fend for ourselves. In those prehistoric times, being left alone to fend for yourself meant that you were at risk of the elements of the environment, you were at risk of opposing tribes, and you were at risk of prey animals. That part of your brain, that part of your nervous system detects the possibility of you being shamed, trolled, rejected, even from strangers on the internet, in the same way our ancestors did when they were at risk of being expelled from their clan, from their group, from their tribe, and exposed to those elements. So it is not just a limiting belief. It is not just self-sabotage. It is your biology doing what it's designed to do. Polyvagal theory teaches us that your story follows your state. Your mindset, the narrative you have about yourself, follows your biological, your physiological state. So if you are feeling unsafe to show yourself, to take up space, to put yourself out there online, to say to people, this is what I think it can really help you, buy this thing that I've got because it's going to help you get these results. That is something very vulnerable for us. And mindset alone is not going to support us. Mindset needs to work in tandem with how we cultivate a physical state that feels safe enough for us to take the risk of being vulnerable and putting ourselves out there. I talk about these sorts of things in this book, and I look at how it impacts women specifically, and I take a close look at the intersection of womanhood and race, because those have a greater impact on how we show up. So I'm going to read a little bit from this book, from my book. This is from the introduction. We have been conditioned to treat ourselves like commodities, constantly extracting from our finite resources of time, energy, and emotional capacity in the hope that we will get a sense of worth, purpose, value, and community, the things that give our lives meaning. Productivity is the new religion. Success has become our salvation. And if in salvation we find deliverance from sin, then what is our sin? To be deemed lazy and unproductive. So when I think about it in the context of showing up and taking up space, when you are starting out in a forward-facing business where you are putting yourself out there, you are allowing yourself to be seen online, you are taking up space, and you're saying, this thing that I thought about, this thing I have trained in, I think it's great, I want you to take a look at it, and if it resonates with you, I'd like you to buy it. That then converts into how we create success. So we have a layer cake. Not only are we feeling vulnerable about putting ourselves out there and being susceptible to criticism of others, we are also putting ourselves out there because this is what's going to help us create success. And if we don't create that success, we are going to deem ourselves as lazy, unproductive, unsuccessful. And those are things that tell us we're not worthy. Those are things that tell us we don't have value. And those feelings of low self-worth and not having value make us feel like we are not going to be accepted by people. We are going to be ostracized. We're going to be shamed. And that part of our brain that hasn't evolved since we were dependent on our tribe kicks in, and we talk about feeling anxious, anxiety. Well, anxiety is our body's way of telling us that we are at risk of serious harm or danger. So we mustn't take these things lightly, and we mustn't confine them down to being limiting beliefs or self-sabotage. Throughout my book, I share practices, tools, and tips to help you befriend your nervous system so that you can cultivate a sense of safety that enables you to take the risk of showing up authentically and truly living. And if you pre-order my book, you will get access to my Be Your Nervous System's Best Friend course and a nervous system befriending body scan. If you pre-order on Audible, you get access to it as well. If you would like me to share some practices to help you cultivate more nervous system safety, do let me know in the comments and I'll be happy to oblige. So yeah, I was just sharing off the top of my head what came up for me following that conversation. My next video will be talking a bit more about the introduction in my book and how society has created an environment where women are conditioned to work far too much to prove our worth and our value. And it's not limited to work. This is not a book that is merely about how women work too much in the workplace. I'm exploring how we are conditioned to overfunction, to overgive, to sacrifice ourselves constantly in every sphere of our lives. Okay, that's it from now. Until next time, goodbye.